Welcome back to our conversation about the latest on Beacon Hill with Katie Lannan and Matt Murphy of the State House News Service. So, despite polling that shows the public is evenly split on whether to allow non-citizens to get driver's licenses, the legislature has overwhelmingly approved that law. Just recently, they overrode Governor Baker's veto. Supporters say this new law will help undocumented immigrants function productively without excessive fear of being pulled over, and it'll help police track scofflaws. Opponents say it's a security disaster in the making that can't be properly implemented to prevent fraud. Now, a campaign is underway to put a question on the November ballot to repeal this. I don't know if they're going to make it. They've got a short window here. But, Matt, why were the Democrats so eager to do this, and how politically risky a move is it?
Well, this has been an issue that's been bubbling for many years in the legislature, and Speaker Mariano felt that there was the support, and we saw that by a huge majority, a veto-proof majority in the House to move forward with this same situation in the Senate. What's interesting here, sort of an unforced error. I've been hearing from a lot of people asking me why the legislature moved so quickly to override the governor's veto, given the fact that they've allowed this window now, albeit tight, and it'll be a hefty lift to get the signatures to qualify for the ballot in November. But they've given the opponents this window to seek repeal, where if they had just waited, they could have avoided this and pushed the issue off to 2024, or maybe not at all.
I mean, Katie, rightly or wrongly, this is a real third-rail issue for lots of voters. And as I say, the most recent polling had an even split on this, and yet there's this overwhelming support within the legislature. What does that gap tell us, if anything?
Well, I think this is one of those issues, John, where we're going to see the messaging, and if there is a repeal campaign, how the campaign presents that issue will matter. I think Speaker Mariano has said that hearing the public safety arguments for passing this law was something that made a difference with a lot of lawmakers. And now we'll see if that argument holds the same weight with the voters, or if the concerns that folks like Governor Baker are raising and lawmakers are rebuffing about the interaction with the automatic voter registration system in Massachusetts, if those ideas take more weight.
What's the deadline for the signatures? For the people that want the repeal petition on the ballot? It's
because they need to get it in, I think within 60 days of the election. There's some time in there for certification. I think they have till basically the last week in August 24th, about there, to get the 40,000 plus signatures.
A real test for the Republican Party, certainly. Another issue where, here's one the public really has said they want. Beacon Hill has struggled to respond, and that's legalized sports betting. They're in the conference committee stage now, the House and Senate, and one of the big differences between the two bills seems to be whether or not to allow betting on college sports, March Madness and so on. The Senate said no, the House says yes. Katie, is this a deal breaker?
Well, that's the question that Speaker Mariano keeps getting asked, because he used that exact phrase, deal breaker, about college sports last summer. Recently, he wouldn't use the same term. He said there's still a long way to go. He doesn't want to really count anything out at this point. And once things go into conference committee, it really becomes a black box. We don't know what the negotiations are about right now, but there's lots of other differences between the two bills as well. The tax rate is different. The Senate has more restrictions in their proposal. So there's a lot of things that might be a deal breaker for one branch or the other wrapped up in this.
I mean, it's been no secret that Senate President Karen Spilka hated this. She hated casino gambling as well, and there are a lot of members of the Senate who felt the same way. Is this sort of even though they approved a bill, sort of a stealth campaign to see that it doesn't make it over the finish line? Briefly, Matt? Yeah,
they made it as restrictive as they possibly could, limiting advertising during games to not entice people. The college sports betting thing, of course, we've heard that you're basically encouraging people to stay in the black market if they can't bet on the professional sports and the college sports at the same time. Why stretch yourself across multiple platforms if you're interested in college sports? So it'll be interesting to see where this one goes and if they can get it across the finish line.
Boy, Machiavelli would have loved Beacon Hill, and if you don't know the reference, folks, Google it. Katie, Matt, thanks a lot.